What's up everyone, Erika here, and I'm back today with another video for you. Today's video is a collaboration with my very best friend Sariea over at DreamItDIY. I'm sure most of you know who Sariea is, but if you don't, she is kind of known as the DIY queen in our little Disney community, and for good reason. Sariea kicks ass at crafts. That's really the fact of the matter. As you might have seen in my 3 simple DIY signs to make with your Cricut, I am now putting out tutorials using my Cricut making machine, my Cricut crafting machine. That's kind of a tongue twister. I've been having so much fun making things with it. I'm not gonna go on and on again on what I've done with the Cricut because we could be here for a really long time. But I will say Sariea has definitely been like a cheerleader and really just promoting me working on my Cricut. She really wants me to get more into the crafting field, and I've obviously dived headfirst into it when I purchased the Cricut. So for today's video, Sariea and I have come up with 3 different Hocus Pocus crafts for your enjoyment, for you guys to do at home. They are super simple to make whether you have a Cricut. I definitely have some Cricut friendly tutorials in this video. Sariea did go ahead and use her silhouette machine for some of her crafts, but not all of them. Some of them you can totally do without a crafting machine, if you will. So please don't forget to head over to her channel to check out the crafts that she did. The first craft we're going to be going over today are these 3 stackable books. Now, Sariea was kind of the first one to bring these to her channel. I didn't really know that these were becoming such a huge trend, but boy, are they. Of course, Sariea and I are doing a Hocus Pocus theme, so she chose a phrase, I chose a phrase. I decided to go with, "Dost thou comprehend?"
We evaporate! We cease to exist! Dost thou comprehend?
Because that is legitimately one of my favorite Winifred quotes ever. Please let me know in the comment box if you guys love Hocus Pocus like we do. What's your favorite quote? Because there are just so many to choose from. And I tend to be the kind of person that I really like the more obscure quotes, like the ones that maybe people don't even think are that funny, and I'm like, so please let me know what your favorite Hocus Pocus quote is down in the comments below. I quickly wanted to mention to you all that I am hosting a giveaway coming up very soon, so please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I definitely want you guys to be notified once that giveaway comes to my channel. So without further ado, let's roll this footage. Here are the 3 books that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. All I was really looking for was to make sure that they were similar in size. So I'm going to take off the cover, lay them flat, and using a Dollar Tree sponge and some white paint, I'm going to just quickly go over the spine or the binding of the books. Next, we are moving on to Cricut Design Space. If you saw my previous video of my 3 Halloween signs, you will have seen my process on this. So here I am putting 3 different text boxes, and like I had mentioned, I'm going with "Dost thou comprehend?" So each book is going to have its own word in the end. So here I'm just, of course, changing the words. I'm going to align them. This doesn't really matter too much if they're centered. I don't know why I actually did this, because it doesn't matter. We're going to cut them out individually. And this part's super simple. I just typed it out. Here I ended up using some brown vinyl. This is not heat transfer vinyl. This is just regular vinyl, so it's going to be the face side up. I decided to go with brown because it is my least used color, and since I know that I'm just using this pretty much as a stencil, I'm going to place these over the book and then peel them off and throw them away. I wanted to use the color vinyl that was the most practical. I'm definitely speeding through this process here just because I think you guys probably have the hang of it. I print the vinyl, cut it, apply it to the transfer paper, and here I am applying the transfer tape directly to the binding of the books. I want them further to the left of the book instead of being dead center. So again, this is just, of course, totally up to you. Once I have it on, I'm going to go ahead and scrape it down just to make sure that the decals are applied thoroughly and peel off the transfer tape. The next step is going to be painting over the entire book with black paint. I am going to speed up the process of me painting the entire book, but I do want to put it in real time, me painting over the words or the stencil, because I did make some errors on this and I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. So as you can see here, I'm not being real gentle or delicate. I'm kind of slopping the paint over the words. I wanted to be sure that there was plenty of paint covering the entirety of the word and just the binding overall. So this book was the one that came out the worst. We do end up fixing it, so don't worry, but I wanted to show you guys so you can avoid making the same mistakes I did. Here I'm taking my little tweezer Cricut tool and I'm going to start peeling off each little vinyl decal. So as you can see, the T came out kind of messed up. There's like a black streak of paint right down the center, and the O as well. It got kind of messy. The other two letters are perfectly fine, but don't worry, we will go in and fix this. It's just I wanted to show you guys that it came out kind of sloppy, and here it is. Some of you might be looking at it like it's not that big of a deal. Maybe you want to go for that messier look, and that's totally fine, but it isn't really what I was going for. So here on the second book, you can see I'm taking my time a little more and kind of dabbing the paint over the word, and I feel like this one came out the best. The third book also came across its own issues, which obviously we will get to once we get to that clip, but I felt that going over it, kind of dabbing it, was just the easiest and the most efficient way to paint over the word. So when Sariea and I had decided to do these, she told me, just please be sure you peel off the letters while the paint is still wet. And I did not understand why she kept stressing that. And I learned the hard way with this one. So here I'm doing the same method. I'm doing that dabbing motion, but the paint dried so fast, you guys, that by the time I got to like the last 3 letters, the decal started to rip up the paint. So if you can see, the E and the D got kind of sloppy. So what I ended up doing was taking a Sharpie to kind of define the centers, just kind of making the edges a little more even. Now, another mistake that I made that I don't want you guys to repeat, or I guess kind of wasted time, was that I took this chalk paint pen that I had from the Dollar Tree and I tried to just go over the letters thinking that this would just solve all my problems, and shocker, it didn't. So I'm just putting this in here to show you guys that it didn't really do anything for the book. So I ended up having to go in with a super small detailer brush that's also from the Dollar Tree, and I just went in with a teeny bit of paint and just touched up the lines in the center. I was way happier with the way that this came out, so don't bother with the chalk pen if you make the same mistakes I did. Just go in and do some minor touch-ups with the paint, and this is what they look like here. I have them stacked up with my favorite Sanderson Sisters movie moment right on top. I lit a candle to give that kind of spooky feel, and of course we have the fabulous book made for me by my bestie Sariea. I just love the way that this turned out. So spooky but so chic. I'm so into it. Moving on to our second craft, this is it here. We're going to be making a Mary Sanderson inspired candy bowl. When the sisters go and visit their master, aka Satan, he gives them a Clark candy bar, and Mary says her line, "'Tis the chocolate-covered finger of a man named Clark." So that is what I am typing out here back in Cricut Design Space. I'm going to take this sentence and break it up into 4 separate lines, which is really going to help make this a lot easier to maneuver and resize and the whole thing. And on top of that, I do want to work with 2 separate fonts. So if you're wanting to have your little quote be one font entirely, you wouldn't really have to do this step, but since I want chocolate covered finger and Clark to be in kind of a cursive script font, and then "'tis the of a man named" in kind of just like a regular font, that's what I'm doing here, and breaking them apart is just going to make that a lot easier. So as you might have seen in my previous videos, again, here I am ungrouping the cursive words and then kind of moving them in closer together. I'm going to group them back together, and I'm going to do the same thing for chocolate covered finger. This is just to ensure that when we go to print, they're all connected and they're not all scattered apart. I will be listing each and every font that I used in this tutorial in the description box, so if you're curious, be sure to check that out. And from here, it's really just a bunch of aligning, centering, resizing. Of course, I took the measurements of the candy bowl and make sure that everything all combined is going to fit perfectly. The last thing I'm going to do before I click make it is I'm going to highlight it, and then on the bottom right you will see I will click weld. That's just to ensure that the cursive font, there won't be any breaks in between. It's just going to print it all as one solid item. And then we are going to get ready to load our Cricut. Here I'm using just regular vinyl again, no need to use heat transfer vinyl. So now that the Cricut has done all my dirty work for me, all of the hard work, I am going to do what I do best, which is peeling or weeding vinyl. So as I've shown you before, I am peeling my mat away from my vinyl, and then I start the weeding process. Something I thought I would mention to you all is I do like to keep the reference picture up on my computer screen while I'm weeding out my vinyl, because if I miss a little loop or anything like that, like between the K in the cursive, I hope I'm making sense. It's going to transfer and there's no going back after that. So now that I've got my little phrase decal on my transfer tape, I am taking my candy bowl. This is the dish that I bought from the Dollar Tree, I believe a year ago. So this is where I'm going to be placing the decal. Now what I'm doing here is something that I learned from watching countless tutorials on YouTube. I'm cutting as many lines as possible without actually cutting any words. This is going to help let the decal lay flat without any air pockets or anything like that. This does take practice, you guys, so if you don't get it right the first time, it's just practice makes perfect. Take your time with it. So once I felt like it was adhered pretty flat or evenly, I went ahead and scraped it down with my little Cricut tool, and then here I am just peeling off the transfer tape delicately before I take it outside and I spray paint the crap out of it. Now with this, I did not take Sariea's advice and I did not peel off the vinyl while it was wet. I just didn't want to mess with the spray paint. So this is the following day, and I will be honest with you guys, I had a really hard time peeling the vinyl off of the candy dish. I kind of sped it up because I spent so much time weeding off this vinyl. I don't know if it would have been that much easier to do when the paint was still wet, but I just don't see how I could have done that with spray paint. It just didn't seem like the best idea. I did end up getting it off and it looks fine, but I just wanted to be transparent with you all that it was a little bit of a challenge. Nevertheless, like I said, I really do like the way that it came out, but I will say once it was dry, I didn't like the way that the inside looked. It looked pretty sloppy. I could see that the spray paint kind of got on the rim in some areas, and I just didn't like the way that it looked. So this is obviously just an extra step. You don't have to do this, but I took it upon myself to paint the rim and then the little divide that it goes down, and then that is it. Here again, I have it displayed on this little end table right by my front door with some fake candles, because let's be honest, if there's candy in this dish, Juliana's probably trying to get to it. I also felt like I should tell you guys the whole point was to put Clark candy bars in this dish, but I had no idea that they don't make them anymore, or it's really hard to get your hands on them. So if you are able to get your hands on some Clark bars, please do that, but I couldn't do it, so this little array of chocolates will have to do. Last and final craft that I am bringing to you all today is this hilarious shirt, Max Likes Your Yabos. Bringing it back to Cricut Design Space, again, I'm using the text function, and this shirt was super easy to design. All I did was type out the phrase, and I think I went with impact as the font. I wanted something super legible, just very easy to read that would pop on my shirt. Again, I broke up the sentence and made it into 2 lines as opposed to one long one. I just felt like this looked a lot cleaner. And once I have it aligned, I'm gonna go ahead and start resizing it. I definitely wanted this to be a lot larger and take up the majority of the shirt. So that's what you see me doing here right before we go ahead and make it. So now that we are working with heat transfer vinyl, for those of you that are beginners with the Cricut, a couple of things to always remember is that heat transfer vinyl does go face down on your mat. Don't forget to check your settings and always be sure you have the mirror setting on. So now I'm going to turn on my heat press while my Cricut is cutting out my vinyl. This is a little trick that I learned on the countless YouTube videos that I've watched. So what I'm going to do is I'm folding my shirt in half and I'm going to run the heat press right down the center of it. What this is going to do is it's going to create a perfect line right down the center of the shirt, which just is going to eliminate a lot of the guesswork you're going to have to do to make sure your decal is nice and centered with the shirt. It's just been super useful for me. So next I am of course going to weed my heat transfer vinyl. This is what I was referring to earlier when I was saying how I leave the image up on my computer to make sure I'm weeding everything out. This one is a little easier to see. Obviously, I'm going to remove the O's, the center of the O's, the center of the A's, that kind of thing. I just find it easier to spot if I have the original image up on my desktop while I'm weeding the vinyl. And with that, we are ready to take our design and adhere it to our shirt. Unfortunately, I didn't show the process of me lining it up on camera. My camera cut out for some reason, but all I do is I actually fold the decal gently at the top just to create a little dent in the top of the decal, and I line that up with the line that we created with ironing the shirt. After that, you're going to want to follow the settings that are given to you with whichever heat press you're deciding to use. I use mine at 315 degrees for 30 seconds, so I'm just taking my time going back and forth, just making sure that the vinyl is tacked down to the shirt. Once I've applied the heat for the allotted time, I give it one run through before I peel off the transfer paper, and that is it. Here is my Max Likes Your Yabos t-shirt. And this is it, you guys. Here is my Max Likes Your Yabos shirt. You guys have to let me know down in the comments if this is a shirt that you would even wear. I know Sariea said that she would be like way too embarrassed to wear this shirt out in public. I'll be real honest with you guys. I've already worn this shirt out in public. Oh, I think it's funny. I mean, if you know Hocus Pocus, you know what it's referring to. But if you don't, it's like, who's Max? What are your yabos? What are you referring to right now? I had so much fun collaborating with my best friend on creating these 3 crafts for you guys. Of course, she and I both are huge fans of Hocus Pocus. I am so enjoying coming out with new crafts for you guys and for my house, really, and for me to wear. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe before you leave, because again, I've got a giveaway coming up. And please be sure you go over to Sariea's channel and check out all of the crafts that she's got going on. You know she's the queen of the Dollar Tree DIYs, so you know they're gonna be good. As always, I wanna thank you guys for taking time out of your day to watch this video, and I hope to see you back again for the next one. Bye.